Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Happy almost 2026. So today I'm going to be doing a roundup of my top 10 indie eyeshadow palettes for the year. So I am excluding brands I buy from like Beauty Bay and ColourPop, just because I feel like none of them would make the top 10 anyway when compared to the more expensive indie palettes, just because they are such great quality. So we're going to focus on those. I typically buy from Nomad Cosmetics, Blend Bunny Cosmetics, Cosmic Beauty. I started buying from Singe Beauty this year. And I also have a palette from Glamlite, which did make the top 10. And I don't usually buy from Glamlite, but I bought it because I love the IP so much. And it ended up being a really great palette. So we'll get there. So I'm going to start off the list at number 10. This is a palette from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. This is called Efflorescence. And it was part of their collab with May Pang, I think is the name. I'm not great at names. But this is such a cool palette because it was like an all topper kind of palette. And I will show you, I don't know how well it's going to pick up on the video, but it has these 6 toppers that are kind of like sheer, but they all have like a different multi or duochrome in them. So this one kind of looks blue, you got a purple, a pink, a kind of gold, a greenish gold, and another kind of bluish, maybe more purple green over here. And I did rate this palette number 10 just because I don't love really tiny palettes. I really like big palettes. So this one having 6 shades was not my most favorite in the world. Another palette that came out with this collection was Rotten, which I really liked. I thought it was a pretty cool palette, but it didn't have any shimmers in it. And I really think that these two could have been the same palette and it would have improved the quality of both of them, to my mind. Now, obviously, there's people who prefer other things, and that's totally fine. Maybe you loved that they were separate. That's just my personal preference there. Number 9, we have the Death palette from Cosmic Beauty. There were quite a few kind of like gothic-y, almost monochromatic themed palettes this year. Blend Bunny did Haunt Me. Cosmic Beauty also did Smolder, that's what it was called. I don't know, not really monochromatic, but just like kind of meant to not have a ton of color. And like I liked them. I don't know that I love the color story as like a bigger palette. So this one for me hit the sweet spot because while it does have those really neat like deep dark colors and grays and blacks, it also has some fun color. Like we get red, we get kind of a reddish orange, we get purples, we get blues. I love color. So to me, like I love having like a gothic-y palette, because I don't know, the little goth girl in me, that makes me happy. But it's nice to also have some options. And I feel like if you're gonna have a bigger palette like this one has, I think, 20 pans, you really need something that's not just grays and blues and neutral, or grays and blacks and neutral shades for me. Again, this is just my opinion on palettes. Okay, coming in at number 7, we have Witch City Salem by Nomad Cosmetics. Man, I love Nomad. Nobody, in my opinion, does a color story like Nomad Cosmetics. Like, they are always just so cohesive. The shimmers are brilliant. I love Nomad. So this was not my least favorite of the year. There were a couple other ones they put out this year that didn't make the list. But this was my least favorite of the top 10. I really love this palette. It's so bright and bold. Like it's Halloween, but not in like a muted spooky way. It's Halloween in like a let's have some bright colors kind of a way, which I really love. You've got your bright greens, you've got your neon purples, but then you also have like some muted ones. I just really love the color story on this one. I feel like it works great for Halloween. It was a perfect Halloween palette. Okay, now we're on to number 6, and why I made my very first purchase from Glamlite this year. So I am a big Lord of the Rings fangirl. Like, I can't even tell you how many times I have read it, how many times I've read the Silmarillion. Like, I love Lord of the Rings. I love Tolkien. I love it all. So I was gonna get this palette irrespective of anything else. Like, I needed this. It didn't matter what it looked like, anything like that. But then I got it, and it's actually a really cute palette. Like, it has this really muted kind of just chill color story, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, it's supposed to be Lord of the Rings, right? But what it really reads as to me is like a Shire palette. Like, it's just kind of your everyday chill. I mean, everyday for me is obviously a lot of sparkle, but for me it is really like an everyday kind of palette. You have your nice greens, your nice browns, like it's kind of neutral, and then it just has some fun ones like the blue, the purple. This black one is really, really cool. I love that one. So yeah, it's a workhorse of a palette. I've used it a few times since I got it, and I really, really, really enjoy it because it is so chill and calming. It's a pretty palette. Even I rated it based on the palette and not how much I loved Lord of the Rings, because it would absolutely be number one, no question. But just for the color story, and even like it's so beautifully done. Like, this map, gorgeous. Like, I don't know. This is just a pretty, pretty palette. Next, we have number 5. This one is called Starlight Society, and it's by Cosmic Beauty. I think they've released it as a standalone palette now, but it came when I first got it as part of a set that included, I think, a highlighter palette and there were some lipsticks and some lip oils, and also some cute eyeliner sticks, I think. Yeah, it had a lot of stuff in it, and was actually a really, really good deal. But I was most excited about the palette. It had this whole like late 90s celestial aesthetic, which was very much my thing when it was the late 90s, and I was a budding tween. So here is the palette. I like the color story of the palette. I do. I don't know that it necessarily fit the theme as much as I wanted it to. Like, to me, 90s celestial is all blues, all purples, golds work, but like, I don't. And I know it's important to have neutrals in a palette, so I'm not trying to hate on palettes. Sorry, there's hair in my mouth. There we go. So I'm not trying to hate on palettes that have neutrals in them, because it does make them more usable, but also just the color story just kind of, it doesn't sit right with my eyes. Like, it just doesn't look quite right, like how it's supposed to look for the theme. And that's why this got ranked all the way down on number 5. If it had been a palette that was like on theme, blues, purples, golds, like this still matches, that's pretty. But really it's this middle bit right here and this middle bit right here that it just kind of takes away from the palette as a whole for me. But yeah, other than that, like, it's a fantastic quality palette. All of these are fantastic quality palettes from fantastic quality companies, which is why I buy from them. Yeah, the mattes are great, the shimmers are great. It's a pretty palette. Number 5. Here is number 4 from Nomad Cosmetics. I'm going to try some French here. It's Chamonix après ski. I don't know any French. I'm sure that was a terrible butchering, but it's so pretty. Here is where we're going to talk again about just the absolute brilliance of Nomad Cosmetics color stories. Like, I feel like they never have a miss. This is just gorgeous. Like, when I am thinking late winter, early spring, this is exactly what I'm thinking for colors. You don't have like the brighter pastels of like a flowery spring. We're still in kind of that snowy, but all these muted greens, like things are starting to grow, all these like little flushes of pink that you start, like, it reminds me of sunrise in like February. Gorgeous. I love this palette. All the colors are so beautiful, and the color story just works so nicely together, and it's so like laid out perfectly. I love Nomad. I love this palette. gorgeous. And the colors just really speak to me. I love these muted early spring, late winter colors. Just so beautiful. And as always with Nomad, it works great. The mattes are great. The shimmers are great. Everything is great. Great number 4. Okay, you guys. I'm literally just realizing that I skipped number 8. So Salem should have been 8. And then the Lord of the Rings one should have been 7, which would have made Starlight Society number 6, which would have made this one number 5. Okay, now we're caught up, right? Here we have the real number 4, Beauty Below. Gorgeous palette. Can I just say, I like when Blend Bunny does collabs. That's kind of been new for this year, is that they've been doing a lot of collaborations, and I like them. But I gotta say, I really like when they have a theme, because I think Blend Bunny works best when they have a theme for their palettes. So like the Ellis Atlantis palette, you know, that was like huge and basically a gianter blends. That was a cool palette, but it ended up just being another blends because it really didn't have a theme. I felt the same way about She Never Misses, and those are all collabs, I think, from 2024. But the point is, I think, except with May Pang, which they did a great, like, rot mold themed collaboration, which turned out really cool. I loved it. By and large, their collabs have been more towards, like, what does this person like, and less like having a theme. But I think Blend Bunny shines so much when they have a theme. This palette, for instance, this is the Beauty Below, which is supposed to be like dark mermaids and stuff. And let me just, like, I can't. Ugh, the color story on this is to die for. Like, we've got so many dark shades and so many shimmers. Like, it just reminds me of water. It makes me think of the way that water would shimmer over colors. It's just gorgeous. Like, it reads mermaid scales sitting in the depths waiting to grab you. It's just fantastic. And it has such a range of shimmers. Like, we get pinks, purples. There's a pretty yellow down here that turns like a yellowish green on the skin. Blues, obviously, because it still is a mermaid palette, but then you have all these deep mattes to blend with, and I love this palette. I think it turned out beautiful. It does suffer a little bit because they're lighter colors, like Beware the Mermaid or Murky Waters, or even Siren Shriek and Watery Grave are lighter than, you know, the really deep ones they have on here. They're not bold. They're kind of muted. Like, this is like a sage green. This is like a really olive. And if it were me, if I had done this palette, I would have liked to have lighter colors that were still like these bold colors. Like, look how bold that purple is, how bold that purple is. This burgundy, like jewel tones, like they have color to them. These just feel so desaturated this one particularly, that they don't fit the vibe of the palette for me, which if I'm thinking Deadly Mermaids, I'm not thinking muted colors. I'm thinking bold. Okay, as we move on to number 3, I just want to be really clear that when I am giving criticism of these palettes, these are my top 10 palettes of the year. Like, I think they're amazing palettes. These little tiny nitpicks are just literally that, little tiny nitpicks that I have that to me justify where they're being placed in my 1 to 10 ranking. Not at all to say that they're not fantastic, because in my opinion, every single one of these palettes is fantastic. And we're on to number 3. This one is Nomad Cosmetics as well. This is their Pacific Northwest palette. I, in particular, love the packaging of this palette. Like, it's a cool, matte, textured, like, I just really love that. Sorry, I don't know if that bothers anybody watching. If it does, I'm so sorry. But I just really, it's a fun thing to touch. And it also has gorgeous colors. I don't usually find myself going for a muted color scheme like this that feels very like foresty, earthy. I like brighter, bold colors, but this, I don't know, this palette just did it so well that I fell in love with it. It's a gorgeous palette. The greens are so foresty, I guess is the word. Like the greens that didn't feel like they fit in the Beauty Below are this palette. Like they work perfectly in here. Those muted colors that are just so like sunlight on the leaves, or like the shadows under the canopy. Just beautiful, beautiful. And then these are so bright, like, because you know, in the forest, there's all these bright splashes of color. I just love it. And especially Pacific Northwest, we've got all these blues for all like the water that's everywhere over there. I don't spend a lot of time in the Pacific Northwest, but I've been to Portland a few times. And just hiking in the woods around there, like this speaks to me. It's just so, so, so beautiful. I love these. It's just a really gorgeous palette. And again, Nomad just kills the theme. Like they hit it out of the park every time. Gorgeous quality, just amazing, amazing fitting in the theme. Just perfect. Love it. Okay, next we have The Garden of Stars by Blend Bunny. This was part of their Ellis Atlantis Volume 2 collab. Just look at the way the colors move on this cover. It's so beautiful. This is a gorgeous palette. This is basically, sorry. This is the all shimmer palette of the lineup. And gosh, is it beautiful. Like I love shimmer. Like, can we just say that? I extremely rarely do an all matte eye look just because I love shimmer so much. And these shimmers are so gorgeous. I was complaining a little bit earlier about in the May Pang collab, they did that all shimmer palette. But really my beef was that it just had 6 shades. Like to me, 6 shades isn't worth dragging a palette out of my drawers. I would rather go for a big palette that has all the colors that I want. But this one, let's see, how many does this have? 6, 10, 18. This is an 18 pan palette, and they're all shimmers. And you couldn't really have combined it with the Ellis Volume 2 palette because that one was already huge. So to me, these two needed to be separate palettes, and this was by far my favorite, just because the other Ellis one was super neutral, which isn't really my thing. So I love, 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 love all these colors, love all these shimmers. I think this was a fantastic idea to do. It's like, I don't know, you could use it as a topper palette, or honestly, you could use it to just do tons of shimmery looks. I love this. I love the way it's arranged too. Like, I feel like the colors are so, they flow into each other so harmoniously. It's a good palette. Okay, are you ready for the number 1 reveal? It's Nomad Cosmetics. Shocking. This one was their Fairy Tale Europe palette. This came out in the spring and was kind of their amusing answer to the palette that had been released the previous fall, Haunted Europe, or maybe it was a fall before that. I don't really remember, but either way, this was kind of their answer to Haunted Europe. Haunted Europe was like their dark, spooky palette, and this is gorgeous. Look at these colors. I can't. They're just so, they're so bright. They're so bold. We get so many like shading options. This is what I'm wearing right now, actually. And I went with the light pink and the dark pink. They're just so pretty. The way that they can flow into each other. And she did that for so many colors here. Like these two fit, these two fit. This one's a little out of the way. But for the most part, they really fit together so nicely. And this one is in my inner corner, Snow White. So beautiful. I love all these colors. And I know I just did all this complaining about neutrals and how they don't work in a color story. I think I did that for Beauty Below and for Starlight Society. But in my opinion, this is the way you make it work. Like, I don't know, it just felt so, in those other palettes, they feel kind of tacked on. But this one, quite clearly, it has this whole very like, okay, here's your gradient to work with. Like, this is your neutral working space. And it just works really well for me, even in a palette about fairy tales. Because I think the interesting thing about a lot of fairy tales is that they start off in this very like non-magical space. Like I'm thinking of Beauty and the Beast right now, right? So you start off in this very like, okay, it's this little French village, it's this little girl, her dad's a little over the top, right? And then you get to the fantastical element. Like her life changes from this boring humdrum life down here and becomes this magical, colorful, beautiful thing. Like this is just, it speaks to fairy tales as a whole for me. Like Cinderella follows this, you know, she's just this poor girl slaving away, and then beautiful, colorful, amazing life, right? She gets the beautiful blue dress and everything. So I feel like even though this palette is so colorful, this whole row of neutrals just works so well as kind of like the beginning of the fairy tale. And I don't know, this came with a little booklet. I'm pretty sure I read the booklet, but I don't remember what the booklet said. It was this whole cute little like fairy tale thing. I don't keep all that stuff because I have so many palettes. It would be impossible to keep all of that and still have room for palettes. So I don't have that anymore. But my interpretation of it is this is like your humdrum beginning, and then you get to the beautiful magical colors of the story later. So there you have it. That is my top 10 of 2025 for indie makeup palettes that I bought. I do want to give an honorable mention to, I don't have it with me, I don't think, but I want to give an honorable mention to the Masterclass blush palette that Blend Bunny put out. And that was a collab with Jordan Liberty, I think. And not because I was particularly wowed by it, I guess. Like it's a blush palette. It's not that exciting for me personally. But I tell you what, I have used that in almost every single look since it came out. Like sometimes I'll swap it out with some of my older Blend Bunny blush palettes just to like use something different. But that one has everything I need. I would use it every time. It's a great palette. So there you have it. All the palettes, or the top 10 palettes that I liked in 2025. Tell me your top 10. Go ahead and comment down below because I would love to hear what you thought about all these and which one was your favorite release of 2025. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day.